SafeTravel PH is a scientific organization that engages the government, transport providers, and commuters to share information for improving the quality of public transport operations. SafeTravel PH is part of the IDEA Incubation Program by PhilDev Foundation in the Department of Trade and Industry. Clarice Nang is co-founder at SafeTravel PH. So hello Clarice, we're very happy to have you dito sa Startup Podcast.
Thank you so much for having us at Startup Podcast. We're really honored to be part of this.
Yes, I'm actually very excited to learn more about SafeTravel PH. It's actually a project by a research organization in UP Diliman, and then nag-form yung startup, nagbi-build ng app, nagde-develop ng app. And the most exciting dito is yung app actually ay nagka-crowdsource ng information from three sources. Let's say, para may triangle yung government, yung transport providers, and yung commuters. Provide information, you process it, and you, kumbaga, create knowledge from it na maaari magamit ng triangle din. So, but I'll start with the first question, Clarice, and maybe you can tell more about it. So, ano nga ba ang SafeTravel PH?
Ayan. So, ang SafeTravel PH is actually a non-profit organization. We're not just a technology app. We're not just services, but we're actually a membership organization wherein talagang ang layunin namin ay matulungan yung bawat Pilipino sa suliranin ng pampublikong pang-transportasyon and also active transport. So we created this organization because we felt that there are a lot of issues when it comes to public transportation and also active transportation, but hindi kasi siya masyadong nakikita, or hindi naman sa hindi masyadong nakikita, hindi siya pinag-uusapan. So that's why we created this membership organization, so that we want to crowdsource all of the solutions that we have and then put it forward and help each other improve our transportation.
Yeah, ang daming katanungan na nagpa-pop up sa utak ko. First of all, yung issue ng transportasyon sa Pilipinas. Nako, yan pa lang, napakalala niyan, napakarami niyan. Traffic, safety ng transportation, and then yung solution actually is may crowdsourcing aspect. Later, I want to ask. Pero, pa-clarify lang muna, when we mean public transport and active transport, what's active transport?
Okay, so transportation is really big, right? Ang nakikita natin sa TV is always yung traffic congestion, yung traffic na sinasabi natin. Pero it's just one aspect of it. Most of the Filipinos are actually using public transport, meaning gumagamit tayo ng jeep, bus, tricycles, yung mga yun. Pero ang palaging nakikita sa media or nakita sa social media, traffic lang. So, which is only private cars. So, that's why parang ang gustong maging focus ni SafeTravel PH or naging focus ni SafeTravel PH, yung mass transit talaga natin. Yung mga jeep, mga bus, tricycles, pati mga pedicabs kung ganun. Kasi pampublikong transportasyon nga. Tapos, nakita din kasi namin na hindi lamang public transportation yung tinitingnan natin kasi there's another aspect to it, which is active transport. When we mean active transport, ito yung mga depedal. So, yung bicycle, cycling, pedicab, at the same time, yung pedestrian also, yung walking. Kasi kapag napansin natin dito, lahat tayo parang hindi na tayo naglalakad. So, that's also a transportation as well, na an active mode, which is walking. So, yun yung gusto naming itingnan. At the same time, when we looked at it kasi sa background, and the whole aspect dun sa market, ang nakita namin, lahat ng solutions, even policies, would go into private cars. So, ang pinaka matunog na solution dyan is palaging si Waze, o di kaya yung right now is yung no contact apprehension na CCTV camera lang. So, bakit ganon? Puro private cars yung solutions. So, doon naman tayo tumingin sa iba, which is public transport and active transport.
Very good point. Ang galing-galing actually. Actually, now that I think of it, may tatlong siguro not just three, pero parang tatlong names. First, private vehicles. It's a big debate. I know science can answer it, and I don't want to answer it here in the podcast, but it's a big debate kung ano ba yung nagka-cause ng traffic sa Metro Manila, for example. Private cars ba or yung mga malalaking bus na, actually ngayon kasi yung carousel na so hindi na ganun ka-issue yung mga bus na kumbaga nag-change ng lanes. Pero tama yung active transportation. And actually, now ko lang natutunan yun, and maybe our listeners lang din na-encounter yun. Or we know it, we see it, pero baka ngayon lang natin nadadigest na siguro ang example dito is yung mga, meron kasi even along EDSA, I know na may tawiran pa rin na hindi overpass, hindi underpass. Yung tawiran talaga na
the street
crossing.
lang talaga.
So, yung mga placing nun, even yung pagkakanan ka, pagliliko ka ng intersection, yung placing ng pedestrian lane, actually it matters kung gaano ba kalayo yung pedestrian, yung crossing, kumbaga, dun sa mismong kalsada. So, and especially yung mga pedicab. Actually, di ko na sure kasi medyo matagal nang wala sa Pilipinas pero when I was high school, so ang transportation ko from Cubao to Agham Road, actually to Philippine Science High School. Magbabas ako and then magpe-pedicab ako. Back then yung pedicab actually very underrated din pero nakikisabay sa mga kotse, nakikisabay sa traffic.
Exactly.
So, yeah, mga underrated na bagay, tricycle, bicycle now, medyo uso na yung, pinaglalaban natin yung mga cycling lanes. Pero anyway, let's go muna sa problem. I mean, what really are you tackling at SafeTravel PH? Napakalaki nito so parang syempre as a research organization, as a startup even, merong itatackle muna na problema. So ano ba itong, kumbaga, research problem?
In terms, buti na lang na research problem siya kasi kapag sinabi nating societal problem, ang dami. So, hindi talaga mapipinpoint into one. But in terms of research kasi, we think that it's vested in two things yung gusto naming tingnan. The first one is yung lack of usable data. Kasi, ang thing is, lahat ng galaw natin, lahat ng trips natin, kung saan man tayo sumakay, kung saan natin balak pumunta, it's actually data already. So, these are important kasi this will help us create the routes na gusto natin, kung gaano ba karaming mga vehicles yung kailangan natin. So, those are very important. But the problem is, no one collects those data regularly. Ang ginagawa is the government actually commissions a lot of private firms, consultancy firms, to do those surveys, and that would take a long time. At the same time, it's costly. Umaabot siya ng milyon na milyon. And even then, hindi siya updated kasi pagkatapos niya ma-process, 2 taon nang dumaan, tapos baka mamaya hindi pa updated. So, yun yung sinasabi namin na lack of usable data and timely data. That's why we need those kinds of data na real-time at saka regularly na nako-collect and agad-agad siyang magagamit. So, yun yung una naming nakita. The second one na nakita namin is, even if we have those data, we don't have trust with each other in all of the actors in the transport sector. That would be commuters, the transport providers, yung mga operators, mga drivers, at saka lastly yung government. Kasi if we only trust each other and open up our data with each and everyone, maybe, just maybe, we can actually improve on our transportation system. So, for SafeTravel PH, we believe that for the change that we want to do, for it to materialize, we have to do two things. The first one is regularly collect and open up the data. And number two, to create trust among each other so that we can actually have these common ground na makapaggawa tayo ng solutions. So,
yes, actually nasa data collection and kumbaga data processing aspect. But it's true, no? Nasa panahon na tayo ngayon ng big data. And this is actually very, 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 very big data. And actually not just big. You need it to be very granular per time kasi may mga peak hours tayo, may mga rush hour, and may mga location, yung kalsada, mga intersections. So it's actually very detailed. And actually, hindi ko gets kung bakit, kung paano siya kuhanin like through whatever way. I think, to be honest, I'm not sure, you can answer this better. Pero sa nakikita ko, dalawang way lang to really capture that level of accuracy na data. First, like for example, kung nasa China tayo or kung nasa anong bansa tayo, na lahat ng intersection may camera, you can actually use those cameras to get all the data that we want, di ba?
Count the vehicles, count the pedestrian, basically
everything.
Yeah.
Pero hindi naman tayo ganun. Hindi naman tayo nasa China na may CCTV sa lahat ng ng lugar. So maybe yun nga ang approach na kumbaga tinatahak ni Safe Travel is crowdsourcing. So punta tayo dito First actually parang mission din ni Safe Travel na i-engage. I think very crucial word yung engage kasi why would they want to share their information? Pero perfect kung lahat ng tao na magta-travel, dadaan sa labas, sa EDSA, magsasakay ng pedicab, makaka-capture lahat ng yun. It's perfect data and sobrang daming magagawa. Actually, pwede ngang ma-perfect na lahat ng ways, lahat ng routes, lahat ng... So, doon tayo sa crowdsourcing part. Can you speak more to it? First, anong klaseng data ito and how do you plan to engage the commuters maybe?
Okay. So, actually, SafeTravel PH is tama na we're really banking on the idea of crowdsource na we're not forcing people to give up their data. We're actually just encouraging people to share the data that they have. Based from the commuters aspect, kasi as you've mentioned nga kanina, there were three main actors here, the commuters, transport providers, and also the government. So the first one, for the commuters kasi, for SafeTravel PH, it's very important for us to get the data of where the passenger is coming from, the commuter is coming from, what time do they leave, what mode, kung ano yung gusto nilang sakyan, at the same time, kung gaano ba katagal yung biyahe nila, at saka kung saan sila papunta. Pero that's just the normal one. What we don't see is that there's this concept of quality of service, wherein most commuters, not really most, all commuters are supposed to care about. What I mean by quality of service is we have to care about the safety of the passenger, na dapat lahat tayo pag sumakay nun, it's crime-free, we're sure na wala tayong mangyayari. That's just one. Safety, comfortability. Dapat yung inuupuan nating bus ay medyo hindi sticky, dapat comfortable siya, or wala man lang nails.
Yung mga jeep, hindi sobrang siksikan sa mga...
Oo. Dapat, the service also has to be very reliable. Na kapag umalis ka ng, sabihin natin, gumimik ka, galing ka ng Tomas Moraton ng 2:00 ng umaga, dapat may masasakyan ka pa rin pa uwi. Tapos, so yun yung mga yun yung mga concepts na hindi natin nakikita because we are so used to the fact na kailangan lang natin makapunta doon na during that time. Pero hindi na natin iniisip kung ano yung parang kung ano pa yung deserve natin, kumbaga.
Yeah.
So,
actually, ang objective lang natin, makarating from one location to another. Pero yung travel, marami pang dimensions din. Yung safety, yung quality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I think we're sure, we actually have a research paper on that, and we found out na people actually care about 7 different concepts of quality. So, I can share that paper, or you can go to our Facebook page to see that. But that's what we're trying to crowdsource from the commuters. Na kung tumakay ka man ng EDSA carousel right now, what can you say about the quality of service? So in the app, if you're a commuter, there's the module there that asks for that 5-star rating for those 7 concepts. So that's what we crowdsource aside from the trip information. So we actually want to capitalize on that. Na our commuters deserve better, and we are ready to have the data and the evidence na we really do deserve better.
And so multi-dimensional pala ang approach to travel. And actually, pwede yung maging way to engage the people. I mean, minsan kasi ako, pag nasa bus ako or bored ako, wala magawa, gawing fun yung survey na siksikan ba sa bus? Ay, siksikan ba sa sasama ngayon? Parang ganun, no? Parang, I mean, it's fun then to answer. I mean, maybe that way ma-engage. And then, siguro nga, sobrang hirap talaga na ma-capture lahat ng, I mean, it's impossible, syempre. 100% ng population na nagda-travel, kukuhanin mo. Pero we can do some stat techniques naman, to get the understanding from there. Pero this is an app, diba? So can you just tell our listeners lang, so how does the app work? I mean, just give the picture lang. For example, mayroong interested na itry yung app na para mag-provide ng information. So, paano ba mag-work itong app na ito? How can he or she give his or her crowdsourced information or data?
So the SafeTravel PH app is available both on Google Play and Apple Store. Yes, nasa Apple Store na kami for the longest time. So once you download it, you'll be asked to sign up. So in terms of the signing up kasi, that's when we ask kung what's your role or what's the user's role. If they're a passenger, a driver, operator, or government. So we have different features kasi for each of those roles. For the passenger, what the passenger can see there is that once they are logged into the system already, meron silang trip tracking, meaning pag binuksan nila yung phone nila and then they answered from origin or which point sila galing, and then kung saan sila gustong pumunta, it would already automatically see the routes that are parang pasok dun kung saan sila papasok. So number one, it helps in trip making. Number two, makikita niya sa system dun sa interface kung sino yung mga bus na or jeep or public transport na malapit sa kanya. So it's a 5-mile radius na makikita. Tapos I'm very, very proud of this. Yung mga kasama dito kasi there's this when you click on the icon of the bus or the jeep, lalabas doon kung ano yung ETA niya at saka kung ilan yung laman.
Wow. Sobrang ganda niyan. Sobrang ganda.
As in, kasi nasanay ako na umuwi kasi ako dati nung undergrad pa ako. So, Diliman pasok. Pagkatapos, UP din kasi ako. So, Diliman yung pasok ko. Tapos, uwi ako ng Valenzuela. Tapos, so, jeep ulit yung sinasakyan ko. Sobrang ansakit sa loob na pagdating ko ng SM North, wala akong masakit.
Puno lahat ng bus. Yeah.
Puno yung bus. So, hahabulin ko lang talaga. So, if I had this app before wherein I know kung may masasakyan ba ako o hindi, kung ilan pa yung laman na pwedeng umupo.
Although mahirap sa jeep. Sa bus, mas kaya siya. Sa jeep, baka medyo mahirap siya.
Yung sa jeep kasi, di ba, remember, yung sa atin kasi pila talaga siya. So, punuan siya. Tapos, pero I think this would be helpful with the people na kapag nasa gitna ng stops. End-to-end kasi, di ba, kapag UP, UP-centric, but it's, sasakay ka ng Vinsons, pagkatapos, sasakay ka sa loob ng campus, tapos yung pila na yon punuan. Tapos pagdating mo ng SM North, meron na naman na pila. So, yung in-between lang talaga. So, kung ako ay naghihintay sa Quezon City Circle ng jeep, tapos nakita ko na wala na palang laman, hindi na ako aasa. So, ganun yung...
True. Kasi minsan, for example, UP-centric tayo, Slayta. Yung jeep na from Vinsons to SM North, minsan ayaw mo maglakad pa papunta ng Vinsons eh. Mag-aabang ka sa somewhere na madadaanan niya. Hoping na makasakay ka, hoping na may sumakay ng SM North, bababa somewhere lang. Pero, ayun, so helpful yung ganito, no? Yeah.
So, makikita niya na kung may parating. Pagkatapos nun, kapag nakasakay na siya, ng disclaimer, this is supposed to be partner na yung driver mismo ay gumagamit din ng SafeTravel or yung bus. So let's say this is a bus. So the bus will have its own QR code kung saan the passenger can scan it already and lalabas doon na magmamatch sila na there will be a record kung saan siya sumakay, saan siya bumaba. Pero ang kaya natin minamatch din is because for the survey to come up na the passenger can now have the power to rate the buses or the jeepneys that they are riding. So kapag kuwari sira yung upuan, rate low on comfortability. Kung sobrang puno, ganun. So that way, we'll be able to tell the operator, ayusin niyo yung servisyo niyo. Kasi ito nagbabayad kami ng tama. So, after that, once na tapos ka na sa survey, you'll go down, automatically naman kasi makukuha ng location mo yun, and then you'll proceed to where you want to be. So, that's how it's being used. for passenger. Pero right now kasi our commuter module is down for enhancement. So what we actually have on the public right now is our fleet module, wherein it's geared towards transport providers. So yung mga operators yung gumagamit tsaka drivers. Ang gusto naman, ay gusto, but what I mean is how they are using this one is that they track, operators now have the power to see where their drivers are. So let's say it's EDSA carousel. So malalaman na ni operator kung natapos ba niya yung buong round trip or di kaya nag-cut trip siya, mga ganon. Tapos, makikita na rin natin kung gaano ba karami yung nasakay ni driver for that day. So that if when we calculate the boundary, it's easier for them to check kung ano yung take home nila. At the same time, yun din, para malaman din kung may nag-absent din bang mga drivers o hindi. But in terms of operator module kasi or the fleet module that we have right now, it's really more for operational side of the whole transport system or the fleet management system. So if you guys want to know more, just ask.
Yeah, if you want to know more, feel free to contact SafeTravel PH. Pero going back dun sa, sa commuter, naisip ko lang, I'm not sure if this will work. Kung pwede, baka malamang may data privacy concerns or something, pero baka pwede siya isama sa, tawag dito, baka beep card na kasi ngayon, jeep, bus, diba? So,
automated fare collection system.
Yes. So, all-in-one na, kumbaga, pagka-beep mo ng card, so mananote na may sumakay dito, sasagot ka ng survey, habang naghihintay sa jeep or sa bus, diba? So, and then, pagbababa ka, i-beep mo, and then, na-record na yung lahat ng information na kailangan, nakuha na yung, kumbaga, yung survey and yung trip information. And I think that's the thing with research startups and with crowdsourcing projects. Kumbaga, you have to find a very smart way to get information. Kasi, first of all, hindi mo mabibili yan. And second, it's hard to engage people. Pero kung may benefit, first yung commuter, may benefit sa kanya. And dun sa may operators, ang ganda actually nun na, kumbaga, you provide information to the operators, but at the same time, you get the information that you need na maaari pang ma-process for much larger things. So, kumbaga, win-win siya for both sides. Data collection, data processing, and it's kumbaga it can, I mean, when we have very 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 big data, mas malaki pa yung magiging positive effects niya. Just one thing before we move. Yung triangle, meron ding government. How does the government naman kumbaga make use of the data possibly?
Ayan. So the government is the one that actually oversees the data kasi the government is the one actually sila yung gumagawa ng mga ruta natin. Sila din yung nag-a-approve kung ilan yung mga units na dapat nagpa-fly on the road. Sila din nakakaalam kung sila din yung may power para gumawa ng policies na mas makakabuti on either sides. That's why we think na it's very important, or we believe that it's very important to involve the government in it. Kasi sayang naman na they have these data, but the route, kung responsive pa ba yung EDSA carousel sa needs ng tao, which for us, ang dami kong naririnig na sana hindi lang EDSA yung tinitingnan natin, baka pwede din sa Commonwealth, mga ganyan. So, yun pa lang, it's very important for the government to have those data already so that it's the way that we create policies and programs would be evidence-based. Hindi lang siya sa sentiments. At the same time, it's easier for people din. Kapag nagtanong, ang daming nagrereklamo, bakit talaga bang maraming sumasakay dyan? Then, if the government has this data to prove it, then, ayun na, we have the evidence. This is really needed. So, that's why it's important for the government to have, or not to have our data, but to have a snapshot. And balik lang ako, sorry, I'm so happy that you mentioned data privacy. Kasi we know that data is really important. Data is is something that we have to safeguard. We actually had to have this app approved by LTFRB and DOTR first. So to curb that issue for data privacy, we actually do not save data, personal data. We don't
Yes.
even verify yung mga names. We just actually get the movement. And then
Aggregation siya. Tsaka aggregation siya of
aggregation
all
lang
the
siya,
data.
yeah. So we don't get kung ano yung sex or gender, we don't get the age, we don't even get the
It doesn't matter
number.
naman eh.
Oo. Kasi we just want to look at the movement of the people talaga at the end of the day. And also the sentiments of the people. That's why kaya in terms of data privacy, we don't really get any personal information at all. That's why I think in terms of our partner cities, they like it na the commuters are anonymous in this regard.
Yeah. Speaking about the government lang tama nga for example si LTFRB sa pagbibigay ng mga prangkisa sa mga jeep I mean kung
Yes.
talagang backed by data na this data is kumbaga ang tagal na ng pag-collect sa kanya so very sound na siya kumbaga sa pag-assign ng mga ruta. And I'm not sure if the government will do this, just an idea baka I'm just throwing it away there. Kung ang government, for example, this agency ay mag-spend ng pera for research for that information, why not spend yung pera na yun for this project para, I'm not sure if this will work, parang, this is very abstract, this is very random. Pero kunwari, ang commuter, meron siyang cash incentive pagkasagot siya ng survey, parang piso per question, di ba? I mean, it's just a random thing I wanna throw out there. Anyway, they have something to...
We actually do that. Through research kasi, ang pinaka-recent na ginawa namin was, nag-survey lang kami with the cyclist. Tapos, we just gave them yung water bottle. And then, it was very, a lot of insights were gathered from the bike lanes. So, kaya talaga. Pero it's very costly nga talaga. That's what I meant by kanina na usually those kinds of surveys will already, pinaka-mababa nun is 500,000 already just for that kind of survey. And that was even small. So imagine if we do it nationwide. That's what we wanted to do in SafeTravel PH. Now, we don't have to spend that much and we don't have to wait until there's a budget for it because the data will be shared by the people already.
True. Yeah, true. You mentioned din yung partner cities. So sa ngayon, sino na ang inyong mga partner na LGUs maybe? And plano ba, I mean, not just EDSA, not just Commonwealth, not just Luzon. So buong buong Pilipinas ba to?
Yes, actually. To be honest, our first partner city talaga was General Santos City. So
wow.
The whole research team is in Quezon City, but we deployed it in General Santos City. We didn't even go there. It was really the city government of General Santos City was very, very generous at the same time, very active in partnering with us. Tapos, and they had this an ecosystem going on na kasi na they're friends with the commuters as well as the operators. That's why they were very ready to adopt the system. So the first partner city that we had is really General Santos City. We're still working with the operators there. And the second one that we have is Puerto Princesa City. So we're in Visayas also. Visayas, di ba? May Maropa. Oo. So,
may Maropa. Yeah, Palawan.
Yeah, Visayas. Tapos, so, ayun. We're really nationwide.
Yeah, interesting. Good thing you mentioned about this being a research project. This is actually a bit unique na startup dito kasi it's actually I mentioned earlier na parang it's actually a research project turned startup. Doon muna tayo sa research project aspect. Can you tell more about the project? This is actually from UPRI, is that right? And actually meron pang mga ibang to eh. So can you just tell everything behind the project?
Okay, so the project started out, I was even undergrad pa nung nag-start yung project na to. So that was 2016.
Undergrad from?
Undergrad from UP. So, oh my gosh, malalaman na yung student number ko. So, the project started noong 2016. Tapos, it was funded by the government, a government-funded project. And then basically, what they wanted to do is to review the routes nationwide. And then it just went on until we found nung nagkaroon ng pandemic, which is 2020, where everything closed down. And then Doc Noriel Tiglao, our founder, also co-founder, thought na bakit ganun? Ang dami nating biglang nawala, nag-radio silence sa lahat. Tapos biglang merong massive transport traffic congestion. And then dahil dun mga, ano yun, what they call that, the stop points, yung barriers during that time yeah, diba? Remember? I forgot what it's called. Pero they basically closed every city, and then there was a stopover or yung stop point. So we didn't know where it was. Parang nagbabago siya every day. And then it provided a lot of stress for motorists and also public transport users. Kasi we didn't know how to adjust our travel time and everything. At the same time, when everyone was ordered to stay at home, paano yung mga frontliners natin na wala ding masakyan? Paano sila sasakay? So that's why we thought na, okay, let's develop SafeTravel PH. And during that time, UPRI, UP Resilience Institute, was the forefront of the university in terms of providing the COVID-19 stats for everyone. So under the banner of the UPRI during that time, they adopted us and helped in terms of the development of our app as well. Na we were first developed as an aid to help frontliners during the time of pandemic. That's why it's SafeTravel PH, to make sure that everyone travels safe during the pandemic. So,
yeah.
Ayun.
Just to may linggo kasi sa startup, and hindi naman startup, sa business world na B2B, B2C. Ito ay parang actually not, hindi nga B2G, hindi nga siya business to government kasi parang siyang research to government, R2G or something like that. So medyo kakaiba siya in some way kasi government funded, pero I think in the long run, baka meron ba aspeto dito na may parang business model siya or something, or is this really just like a big research for the government?
Actually, we all came from the founders of SafeTravel PH because we're 5. All of us came from the research group kasi, and we know for a fact that it's really hard to get government funding, lalo na for research. Yung research nga lang namin ang hirap ng i-fund, paano pa kaya yung different projects, diba? So, we thought of creating SafeTravel PH as a non-government organization, an entity, so that we can get more funding na not just restricted to the government funding. So, ang naging business model namin is actually para siyang B2B kasi we know for a fact that the government is limited when it comes to their resources, and it will be hard for them to procure to procure our services. So, what we're trying to do right now is actually get funding from private institutions or non-government agencies as well, non-government organizations, NGOs as well, international funding agencies, so that it will help further our research and operations. At the same time, we found out, actually, while we were building this kasi, we found out that there are a lot of operators who are willing to fund these kinds of activities kasi nakita nila yung value of the data na SafeTravel was trying to collect at the same time that we're processing. Kasi at the end of the day, kung meron silang data na sabihin na, oh, this route is not working, the route that you gave me is not working, it's not profitable, maybe you can adjust it, this is the data. So those kinds of insights are very important to the operators. So we found out that they're willing to fund. So ayun, ang ginawa nila, they got our services as well, and then they also funded different programs under SafeTravel. So
Wow.
it's B2G, I guess.
Yes,
B2B,
yes. Although
B2G.
medyo hindi siya gano'n ka-strict, pero yes, maybe.
Yeah.
Pero it's super interesting. Actually, yeah, for maybe for bus operators lalo na lalo na yung mga provincial bus, hindi na pala kayo dumadaan sa EDSA or hindi na actually nakapark sa EDSA. Pero
Yeah.
minsan ang daming unutilized na bus na it will be win-win for the operator and for the people, for the traffic kung malutas siya using if you have
Yeah.
traffic data. Just a short question lang, Clarice. You mentioned there are 5 co-founders, Itong 5 to ay from UPRI, is that right?
No, we're all um we are from UP and CPAG. So
Wow. Okay.
so talagang
So,
pero
nanggaling muna kayo
not
sa NC.
everyone is from NCPAG. We were just based in UP and CPAG for that research project. Kasi ang mga kasama ko is with our project leader, Dr. Noriel Tiglao, came from engineering, tapos went to public administration. And then ako, I'm a homegrown public administration talaga. Tapos yung mga kasama ko, 2 taga-engineering, tapos 1 taga-stat.
Paano nabuo yung group nito?
Because of the research project that was funded noong 2016.
So
nung
parang
graduate
naghanap
ako,
ng group,
dun na
team
lang.
members.
Yung mga colleagues na naging friends, na naging, talaga,
Yeah.
gawa na lang tayo ng
Well, usually ganun
engineering.
naman if you're a project leader and you're looking parang kumbaga experts or kumbaga from different fields So
Yes.
you post online or you post somewhere and then basically para siyang hiring and apparently kayo yung naging founders kumbaga ni SafeTravel PH. Going to the next and actually last question na natin ito. Sumali din si SafeTravel PH sa IDEA Incubation Program ni PhilDev Foundation and DTI, Department of Trade and Industry. So first, is this as a startup? I mean, how did because this is IDEA Incubation Program is for like startups So
Yes.
from a research project, how did you become like a full-fledged startup in that program? And parang what did you learn? How did you benefit from this program as well?
So we actually we thought of creating ourselves as startup talaga. We joined
From the start?
PhilDev. Yeah, from the start we wanted to be a startup kasi we didn't know anything else Diba? Usually yung nakikita natin, and also the way that the other research projects were doing it is they were being pushed to commercialize. So that means na mag-startup ka, maging for funding ka. Tapos so nung when the call was released by PhilDev, we grabbed the chance na kasi we came from a research group. We didn't know anything about creating a business model. We didn't know we needed a vision mission pala to create our company, kumbaga. So we didn't know how to make those kinds of things. Even to market it, we didn't know at all because we were to be honest, even now we're still in the technical sphere na sobrang alam lang namin to. So when we saw the call of PhilDev on Facebook, we saw na this is an opportunity for us to learn more and to grow our idea. Tapos buti na lang it's called IDEA because we were able to solidify our idea. We the first stage of the PhilDev Foundation's program is IDEA program. So we were able to solidify and strengthen our idea na we want to create an organization that will help public transport nga. And from that social need, we see kung sino yung mga yun yung pinaka-important sa amin. We didn't know who to help with. So IDEA helped us. PhilDev helped us in terms of prioritizing sino ba dapat yung mga paying customers dapat namin, mga ganun. And then until at the end na we learned how to create our business model and also to market ourselves. Although we're still lacking on marketing, but still we're getting there. So we're really very thankful with PhilDev Foundation in getting us as a cohort.
Yeah. Actually, parang actually super much nga actually dun sa may IDEA Incubation Program ni PhilDev and DTI. Kasi meron din yung parang social impact aspect, parang they prioritize choosing startups na parang kumbaga may social impact. So I think very swak si SafeTravel PH actually to be part of the cohort. And all of that you've shared so far is actually a good reflection. I'm from the academe. And ang dami actually na mga students na actually sobrang dami na may
Mhm.
research na napaka laki ng potential maging startup or actually mag-provide ng impact. And you mentioned the right word, commercialization, for some. Pero I mean, basically turning that research or turning that project into something na kumbaga may sustainable model in terms of
Yeah.
operations and even data collection, and kumbaga providing value to stakeholders like the government or in SafeTravel PH, the operators, so kumbaga thinking beyond and kumbaga
Yes.
really extending the research to something of use to society or to many people. Yeah, so I think we can end with that. Ang ganda actually ng ating usapan kasi this is very refreshing for me kasi it's not just the typical startup story actually. It's very
Yeah.
it's very nice to hear like a research group nagsimula sa call for a research project, and then nagkaroon ng idea gawin siyang startup, and actually it's working now. So may app na
Mhm.
and patuloy pa ang pag-develop. So anyway, maraming salamat, Clarice. If our listeners want to know more about Safe Travel, maybe may katanungan sila dahil sa ating usapan, or maybe they want to contribute, they want to help, they want to use the app, so how can they know more or how can they contact you?
So if the listeners or you guys have any questions or you want to know more about SafeTravel PH, just go on ahead to our Facebook page. It's safetravel.ph. Or if you want to, our website is safetravel.ph as well. So the website is an open source of data. So medyo magulo pa siya. Sorry. Pero if you want to talk to us, it's more you can reach us at Facebook. But ayun. So we're very excited to hear your ideas.
Yeah, so sa mga nakikinig, feel free to connect with Safe Travel PH with Clarice Nang. So maraming salamat, Clarice, for this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to our 32 patrons. This episode is super powered by TechShake, Asia's most active Philippine-based startup ecosystem builder creating bridges with investors, corporations, and governments. 1 CFO, tech-enabled CFO, bookkeeping, and tax services for startups and SMEs. Take 5 Outdoors, the best guided outdoor adventure tour in the Philippines. They specialize in hiking and mountaineering trips. Benjoy's Food Products, the home of premium bacon ends, tapa, and tocino. D-Buzz, Web3 microblogging app promoting freedom of speech and content ownership. Pinoy IP Works, capture your startup's value proposition through patent and trademark protection. Packetworks, the leading enabler and only Internet of Things social enterprise in the Philippines. Looking for buy and sell online with Sigurado sellers. And NutriCoach, the all-in-one productivity tool for dietitians and nutritionists. This episode is powered by Pareto Consulting, AltSwitch, ePlayment, Tuala, and Hive Energy PH. AskLex PH Academy is our official e-learning partner. Get certifications on Lean Six Sigma, project management, data science, and many more. Support the podcast through the links in the description.